It is a year ago today that Scott Morrison swore in his new ministry, or more to the point, he had the Governor-General swearing in his new ministry. Scott Morrison promoted lots of fresh faces, lots of women, and he also saw our first Indigenous Cabinet Minister becoming the first Aboriginal to hold the Indigenous Affairs portfolio. Most pundits, of course, figured that Morrison would not be around very long. They figured the coalition was finished. I wasn't one of them, I have to say. It was always going to be monumentally difficult for the coalition to hang in there, but the fundamentals of the debate, economic management, taxation, border security and climate and energy policy, always favoured the coalition. It was going to take stability, determination, skill and advocacy, the likes of which we haven't seen since John Howard, but Morrison saw his chance and he grabbed it. He seemed to understand his mission and the methods required instantaneously. Have a listen to this, the first one-on-one interview he gave a year ago today. And who was it to? It was to Ian McNamara on the ABC's long-standing Macca's Australia All Over, perhaps the only program across the entire ABC media empire that seems to get mainstream Australia. And Morrison's one message was all about humility, hard work and being in touch with his constituents.
So do they all move to Canberra now? Or?
Oh, no, mate, we're not thinking about any of that at the moment. We're just focusing on the job. That stuff can sort itself out when it needs to, but we've got a lot of work to do. But we're storing the stability. I mean, I just want to assure everyone, there's a lot of change this week. I know people would have been pretty miffed by it, would be an understatement. I think a lot of people would have been absolutely disgusted by it. But, you know, we're a great country. People are going to, you know, get back to where they have to have their heads and where they should have their heads, and that's where I'm going to get their heads so we can get on and make this country even greater than it is now.
Morrison has delivered a political masterclass just about every day since then. He's been relentlessly on message, he's unified his party, he's zeroed in on Labor's weaknesses, and he's focused on the issues that mainstream voters care about. He had the political skill to pull off a narrow election win coming from behind, and he's already delivered his main reform agenda of a medium-term income tax reduction plan. As we're seeing this week in Vietnam and France, he's also quite sure-footed in the world of diplomacy. And as a former Treasurer, we know he's economically literate. For a bloke many thought might be Prime Minister for only a few months, he could end up being around for a few terms. So successful has Morrison been that it's hard to point out weaknesses right now. He has massive challenges looming, that's for sure. He needs to manage a belligerent and interfering China at the same time he deals with an abrasive US president. He has to deal with sluggish economic growth, wages stagnation and poor productivity growth, and he needs to do more to sort out the nation's energy woes. These are the issues on which he's likely to be judged in 2 years' time, along with his performance on delivering a sustainable budget surplus. And none of this is going to be easy for him. He's being particularly well served, I think, by his Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton and Attorney General Christian Porter. They're the stars of the show at this stage. The main weakness I see now is the lack of a clear job of work, a clear list of desired outcomes, a clear agenda for the rest of the term. To build on his great success so far, I think Morrison needs to map out exactly what he hopes to achieve and how he plans to do it in each of those areas of strategic security, economic growth and energy affordability and reliability. My favourite political credo is that in politics nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems. So when things look good, as they do for ScoMo right now, it's time to buckle down and do even more work.